What's up, everybody? Before we get started with this new wrestling wrap-up, I just want to let you know that What's Your Bliss and Offended are back this week. Make sure to check that out. But also on 420, our brand new podcast getting added to the Anything But Credible network, the STL Pot Dispatch will make its debut on the Anything But Credible network. Make sure to check it out, and it drops on 420 exclusively on the Anything But Credible network. Now enjoy the wrestling wrap-up. And welcome to the wrestling wrap-up. We are back. Thomas, welcome back. How are you?
Tricky, I am doing well. A lot of wrestling and a lot of sports entertainment this week, but it's been an absolute blast.
I like how you did that. I like how you split the two. Perfect.
That's right.
Yeah, welcome back to the wrestling wrap-up, our 5th episode, presented by the Anything But Credible Network, Offended, and the What's Your Bliss podcast. I was just so flustered right now because we have so much to discuss that I botched the whole intro to this, but I don't even care.
It's fine. We're good. We're winging it.
We're good and gravy. I mean, fuck. We go from Ring of Honor Friday night to, I guess you could say, the Hall of Fame, too, because, I mean, the Undertaker's speech was pretty cool.
Yeah.
To night one. Holy hell, what a night one of WrestleMania. To a just as good night 2 of WrestleMania. To back to normal bullshit on Raw, where it's just like,
my God, I'm ready to talk about that too.
To I even skipped over NXT. NXT Takeover was good.
I know.
Sorry, Stand and Deliver. It's not called Takeovers anymore.
Right.
Then Tuesday was my break. And then Wednesday was, I mean, a stellar episode of Dynamite.
Amazing. Yeah.
Stellar episode. Was anything Thursday? I'm drawing a blank.
I didn't watch Impact, so no.
And then Rampage was insane last night.
Absolutely insane.
And then even on SmackDown, we're getting Shinsuke and Roman. I'm for it. I'm all for it. But let's go back Friday night. Ring of Honor. Supercard. Was it Supercard of Honor, right?
Supercard of Honor. Yep.
It felt like the perfect mixture of an AEW show with Ring of Honor. And it was spectacular. I thought the card from start to finish was great. The finish with Samoa Joe coming out, I didn't even think twice about that happening.
Right? Yeah.
Like I had a few people over. I'm starting to slowly get a lot of people from my work into wrestling, and it's hilarious.
That's awesome,
like they're really getting into it too. They want to come over for every show and everything now. And one of the guys standing next to me, who is actually a wrestling fan, was like, what if Samoa Joe just comes out at the end? It is Ring of Honor after all. I'm like, holy shit. So I didn't even think about that. 3 minutes later, he comes walking out. I'm like, Mike, you fucking called it. Like, totally fucking called it. But I mean, Jay Lethal turning heel. Incredible.
And so well done. Well done. And just such a good version of his character. He really does good heel work anyway. And I'm really excited to see this like elder heel who just hates everything and turns against everything he's created.
I was hoping he was going to join that Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah.
I was like, that could be a pretty decent fit, but I think they're going to focus more on the future of AEW, no offense to Jay Lethal, but yeah, he's been around for quite some time.
Yes. No spring chicken, that guy. That's for sure.
While the Ring of Honor show was going on, Rampage was going on. Rampage starts off with the Young Bucks versus Top Flight, which is a great match.
Yep.
They did this. I don't know if you watched Being the Elite this week, but they did Twitch this past week. AEW did like their game show where it's like they ask everybody a question like, what would your superpower be? And they're all like, everybody said flying except for Adam Cole. He's like, I don't like heights. I just want to teleport. So of course they
jumps
use
off
that.
The second rope.
Right. That's so good. I never put that together. I wonder if that really is why. I don't think I've ever seen him jump off the top rope now that I think about it.
Yeah.
But being elite, Young Bucks are like, I think we can teleport. So they teleported to Ring of Honor after their match. I was like, that's just so, it's the little
So
things,
funny.
man. It's just the little
Yeah,
things.
amazing.
But they teleport to, in my opinion, was the match of the weekend. I mean, the match of the entire week, and that was FTR versus the Briscoes for the Ring of Honor World Champion Tag Team Championships. Wow. That
Holy
Thomas,
hell.
so if you want to go on this one, go ahead, because I think I need to hear some words first before I start talking about this match, because this match, I don't know how anything's going to top this match for the rest of the year.
No, I said that to my wife. She wasn't watching with me, but I said, I think I watched the match of the year tonight on a show that I wasn't expecting, that just kind of, not that it popped up out of nowhere, but it was like 2 weeks of build really. And there wasn't a ton of TV time dedicated to it. And I was just like, just going in happy to see Ring of Honor back, happy to,
Right.
see all of that. And there were some good matches on that card. And they got to this match and you could just feel it before they even locked up. And it was like, oh, this is something. What an absolutely stunning match. I've talked about before my affinity for tag team wrestling in general, and this was the top of the form. This was so amazing. I just felt like the drama, I haven't watched it. I've watched the Briscoes for sure, but I haven't watched like a ton of Briscoes matches. So it was nice because for me it was a little refreshing too, of like, oh yeah, this is kind of their style and this is what they do. And I still don't understand the Delaware accent, but that's a different topic for a different day. But holy hell, man, like everything they did. And another what became a theme this week is teams stealing the big rig and trying to do it themselves.
Right.
Which I thought Excalibur, to his credit, man, he's probably the best in the business right now. I mean, this guy just he talks about wrestling in a way that's so accessible, but also doesn't dumb it down for you. And he explained it on Dynamite of like, yeah, other people can do the move, but they're not perfecting it because they haven't perfected it like FTR has. They don't do it all the time. It's not their, and the way that he's explained it much better than I just did.
But it's just such a simple thing that makes sense, though.
Exactly. Yeah. But man, what a match! Brutal, but also like, I always love the like you remember the whole like no fists or no flips, just fists, and this whole thing. But like, man, they fly around the ring still. Those guys, like, they may not be doing 1,000 topes or anything like that, but man, they do fly around the ring. And I'll tell you what, they made Dax a freaking star over the last few weeks. And that dude, if they ever, he doesn't want to, it sounds like, but man, if they ever wanted to push him, he is over like Rover, baby. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. Like FTR, dude, FTR is getting so over right now that they are reminding me of we've gone through so many, I feel like so many different stages of FTR with the revival. I mean, before they were really no flips, just fists, they were like this weird Southern tag team that they wore like weird jackets in NXT. Yep. Nobody really knew like what they were. Then they came into their own. They became this team that wanted to be like the Four Horsemen. They loved Tully and Arn, and their style just resembles them so much, with a new, like, updated form of wrestling, I guess, mixed in with it. And to me, FTR is just a complete package. But one thing that I think FTR is kind of slowly breaking away from that mold of like trying to be like that 80s style like wrestling. They're now kind of turning into their own thing. And man, they are starting to remind me of a tag team version of Stone Cold Steve Austin, where they're not really face, they're not really heels, they're the tweeners, they're in the middle, and it is working perfectly. Like, you can build the entire show around FTR now. They have gotten so over. I think they have to be the biggest tag team in the world right now. They have to.
I think so. Yeah. No, I think you're 100% right. And this week proved it. I mean, really, like the match with the Briscoes, and then on Dynamite, the match with the Young Bucks. I mean, we're talking about two, for Dave's credit, he gave one 5 stars and one 4.75. And I told you, like, I thought that the Young Bucks was slightly below the Briscoes, and I stand by that still. But but it was still almost perfection. Like everything they did was awesome, and always great to see the Young Bucks, as we've talked about, and they're just in perfect form right now too. They're really killing it. And there's only so much room at the top also, and there's a lot of stories to be told. But one thing I wrote down after watching Dynamite was just it really does highlight the thing we've talked about with Jurassic Express, and there is a ceiling that they have reached that they have not broken into that upper echelon, whether that's booking or whatever, I'm not sure, but it's very clear that FTR, the Young Bucks, are seen as above them, even though they're the AEW tag team champions.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, I feel like there's only really so much you can do with Jurassic Express, unfortunately. I mean, there's only so far you can go. And I think Luchasaurus is going to be great when he takes the mask off, because I think you can actually build him as a monster heel, and you can build him like a Kane almost. He moves like him. I mean, I was listening to a podcast. I think he was on Jericho's podcast. He was talking about how much he studied Kane's movements and everything. It's like, it shows. It totally shows. For sure. And then you have Jungle Boy, who I think is a future world champion. I mean,
totally.
His promos are getting better and better each week. It still needs work, but it's getting better. And
that crowd popped heavy when he ran down this week to fight off Red Dragon.
Yeah, they did. Dude, the crowd this week was insanely hot.
Amazing. Yeah.
The entire show.
But look what they got also. That Dynamite was stellar, and that Rampage was amazing. I mean, they really got a treat this week for sure.
And they're planting seeds for Christian finally turning heel, and I cannot wait for that Christian Jungle Boy match. They have been teasing that thing since Jungle Boy eliminated him in the Battle Royal at fucking Double or Nothing last year.
Yep.
God damn. And people on Twitter today are like, oh, AEW doesn't do fucking stories. I've been going off on people today on Twitter. I just been
I don't understand how you can say that. I really don't understand how you can say that. It is literally their strength. Is storytelling and actual wrestling. Yeah.
I just think that's a masterful troll job, because literally he just called the extremist bots, and that will stick with them forever now because they reacted so poorly to it. That's the funniest thing about it.
Yeah.
But back to the tag team match. It's classic offended episode here. Just going right off the rails.
That's what we do.
But FTR, man, when they won, I got goosebumps. And I know in real life that them and the Briscoes, they genuinely don't really care for each other. Like, they did not like each other for a long time.
Yep.
And I think it was Cash Wheeler got interviewed after the match. He said the handshake after the match was not planned. Like, they were supposed to leave the ring. And I think when they were showing like a replay, FTR like grabbed him, like, stay in the ring. Like, I think that's just pretty cool. FTR seems like they just know they are just the perfection of pro wrestlers, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. They are professionals. That is what they do. Like that, they are pure professional. And yeah, I think you're right. Like, they are the definition of pro wrestlers. I think your comparison to Austin is really apt. Like, that is a really if they play it right, they can do something that no tag team has ever done, and that is be the top act.
Yeah, exactly. They could be the main event. Like, you get to use the Young Bucks with them. I mean, shit, you can do 100 matches of those, and I will watch every time, because it's just, they will find a way to make it unique.
I said, I know that this, like, we can't see it every week, but my God, like, I need more. Like, two isn't enough. I need more.
Right. And just on top of all of it, they have the best theme song in all of wrestling right now. I mean,
totally.
Anytime that theme song starts, I'm just like, let's fucking go. It's just the best. And then moving on to a thing that surprised the hell out of me at the Ring of Honor show. Minoru Suzuki is the Ring of Honor television champion, which I don't think is going to last after this week. But
nope.
So we talked about this, I think, on I want to say, if it wasn't the last episode, I want to say it was maybe 2 episodes ago, when we talked about Ring of Honor getting purchased. And me and you were saying, oh, it makes sense while they're signing all these wrestlers now, because they're going to start moving them to Ring of Honor. And it's kind of going to be their brand split, it seems like. And Tony Khan announced this past week that he is not re-signing most of that Ring of Honor roster. So that it makes sense, and it all adds up now. And Grisham won the world title, didn't he?
Sure did. Yeah.
good. So I was really hoping that they would sign him, but it looks like he is staying.
Yeah, Gresham won. And but to your point, like that started clicking a little bit for me, and I'm glad Tony like mentioned it this week, because that started clicking for me once you see the results of who was winning, right? The championships that all did change hands. You're like, okay, this makes sense, especially if you're not going to move forward with a lot of these folks. I do hope that they can find a place for the Briscoes, at least because I think they should be on national TV, like that they're that good. But I do think, I was watching the match with Suzuki and Rhett, and just thinking like, man, this is it's such a difference. Like not just the styles, but when you look at someone like Rhett, who was great in my opinion, in like better as a tag team person than a singles wrestler, in my opinion. But he just doesn't necessarily fit the AEW mold, and no. I can't even explain exactly what it is, but I just watching him was like, oh man, it's just he just doesn't excite me, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's my own thing, but yeah, he's generic. And I felt the same thing about Woods too.
Yeah.
In the Pure match, like Woods was exactly what they needed in Pure when they were doing that style. But I think having Yuta going forward with a more violent Pure style is the direction that I think makes the most sense for that division.
That Pure AEW getting their hands on that Pure championship is gonna be, we're gonna see some of the best technical matches I think of all time. And man, I wish Bret Hart was like in his 20s now.
I know.
And speaking of Bret Hart, apparently he texted FTR after the match, and Dax Harwood was like, I broke down in tears immediately. I'm like, just get Bret Hart on the fucking screen with them. Do it.
That's it, man. He's gonna come in for the Owens, so like, why not?
Right.
Do it. Pay him whatever, man. Pay him everything.
Right. No doubt. I think Tony can afford it. But what's I gonna say? On to the staying on Wheeler Yuta. Winning the Pure title, I kind of figured that that's the direction they were going to go in with him. When he wins the title, and then I'm like, okay, so this is going to be his into the Blackpool Combat Club. Go to Friday night, Rampage wrestles Moxley in a match of the year candidate. Holy hell. Kicking out of 2 paradigm shifts. Has anybody ever kicked out of the paradigm shift in AEW?
Not to my knowledge. I'm trying to remember if Kenny did, but I feel definitely not 2.
No, yeah, not 2.
and second one, I was like, that's done. Like, that's the biggest one I've ever seen.
Right?
Yeah.
And that I love how he just like, it wasn't like a kick out. This is, God damn, this is when I love pro wrestling. It's the little things, Thomas. It's the little things. I'm getting excited.
The little things. I know.
He just rolls. That's all he does. And it's just so perfect.
It's like pure instinct is the way that they would use to describe it, right? Just that like.
Yep. And he gets his Austin moment, passing out, blood pouring down his face. I mean, Stone Cold literally changed the game of professional wrestling and how you get over with the fans. And the Attitude Era changed the game. NWO changed the game. Wrestling changed forever back then. WWE's trying to go backwards. They're trying to go back before that. And it's like, you can't go back before that because this version is just too good.
Yeah. We've seen what it can be. That's
right. And we'll touch on that when we get to NXT because I got a whole thing about that. But Wheeler Yuta going the distance with Moxley. Looks like he's joining the Blackpool Combat Club after shaking Regal's hand. I mean, and I think I saw a picture. I don't think they showed it. I think they cut the feed, or maybe they showed it on their Twitter feed or whatever. But Brian puts the title on him.
Like, yeah.
I was like,
I saw you post that. Yeah,
that's cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
One of my second favorite. That is my favorite, especially like the it's pure. It's perfect. It is like the Bloodstone picture when he's putting the title on him, which is awesome. But I don't know if you saw it. Kimber Last Kick, who does a ton of the photography,
she's awesome.
AEW stuff. Dude, her picture of I don't exactly remember what's happening, but Mox is kind of standing behind him and Wheeler is in profile, and you just see the blood like squirting out. I'm like, holy shit, what a picture, man. You got to find it. If you check up Kimber Last Kick's Twitter, it's on there, but holy cow, man.
No, she's my favorite photographer by far. I've done a couple of edits of her pictures. I've sent them to her. No response. What the hell? But I mean,
we're gonna stop putting her over then.
that she takes some of the coolest fucking pictures I've ever seen in my life, like especially for wrestling. And I wish, because I know she's in the crowd most of the time.
Yeah.
I wish they could get her ringside to see what she can do. Like,
me too.
I think she could get some cool fucking shots. But Wheeler Yuta, but hey,
Star,
AEW doesn't make stars. You know, they just steal from WWE, right?
That's right. This boy is a star. Holy cow. 4 weeks ago, he was nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
Yep.
They built him up in 4 weeks to be the biggest deal on the show.
Yep. Watching the Ring of Honor show, I said to Stout, I was like, something missing. There's one thing missing about Wheeler Yuta, and I don't know what it is. Rampage answered that. It was he's never had blood yet. It's like, that's it. That just did it. And he has the coolest tights in the game too.
Oh, they're so cool, man. I did see someone on Twitter, and I wish I remembered who it was so I could give him credit, but someone called him the Great Yuta, and I freaking love that. I love that so much.
Master Yuta.
Yeah.
I just can't wait for Regal to say that. But Regal was looking like he could move again all of a sudden.
Looking good.
Good. I'm starting to wonder if he's going to do a match.
Man, I hope so. I really do. If
I
he feels up to it, of course.
Yeah.
Yes. Because man, I think I talked to you last time about like his podcast when he was talking to Jericho, and it was just like,
that was rough,
dude. Like, you all right?
No shit.
I mean, it was brutal, but like
it made me tear up like towards the end.
Dude, like I was sitting in the friggin' King Super's Kroger parking lot, just going, well, I'm gonna need a minute before I go inside.
I was working. I was supposed to bring back a bin back to like the packaging room, and I had like my headphone in, and then he was talking about how his wife tapped him on the shoulder and he collapsed, and I just like put the bin down. Like, what? Like, are you okay?
But if he feels up to it and everything clears, I would love it. I would love it, of course.
Yep. I was trying to think of my top 5 matches from the past week, and man, oh man. It's
for
hard.
me, we've already talked about 3 of them, so I think that's helpful.
Yeah. But what was it? On you were saying the Thomas Rhett, that's his name, right?
Rhett Titus.
Rhett Titus. Thomas Rhett, that's a country singer.
Rhett is Rhett and Link. I do that in fairness, I have done that 1,000 times.
But he reminds me kind of like of Matt Taven, where it's like, it's like Ring of Honor had this whole like run where it was pushing the wrong wrestlers, and they're not bad wrestlers. It's just they don't have that star power that, say, go back to 2019 at that Supercard show at Madison Square Garden. How does Marty Scurll not go over in that match?
Yeah,
he was the top draw, and he never got that world title. And you could say what you want about Marty now, but at the time he should have been world champion. And
absolutely.
He is trying to make a comeback. I don't know if you saw that. He's wrestling over in England right now, and
I did.
He started doing some vlogs again. These vlogs you can tell he's not comfortable yet. Like those vlogs are cringe. Like he is just not. He's trying, but I don't know. I do believe in second chances. I hope it turns around for him, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. It's a delicate situation, obviously, but like, and it brings up the kind of the whole. We've seen a lot of discourse this week because of Nash Carter and like what is and what isn't acceptable and all of this stuff, and like
what's true, what's not true. On top
I mean, there's a lot of pieces there, right? Here's what I know. As a Jew, you can't do what he did.
No,
you can't do that. You can't dress up as Hitler.
And do the so salute. Funny. How is that? How are the allegations still the narrative for why he got fired? That's not why he got fired.
Idea.
It's been reported like several times by by Dave Meltzer, who said everything that was going to happen at WrestleMania, and people called him crazy. He's like, Vince is he's slated to wrestle.
He's on the internal card. Yep.
And people were like, oh, you're crazy. Oh yeah, good job, Meltzer. What happened? Vince ended up fucking wrestling. Yeah. So Meltzer reported that. I think Sean Ross Sapp even reported it. And when Sean Ross Sapp reports it, I'm like, okay, I'm locked in. This guy's never wrong.
Yeah, man. But it's like SAP and Wrestle votes are like the two that you're like, okay,
right.
Well, that's what happened.
Yeah. And then they did an investigation on who was the women's wrestler that did that brought up the allegations.
Oh my God. Kimberly.
Yeah, that's right. Apparently it kind of seems like she might not be telling the full story or truth, and she deleted her Twitter. And this is like the touchy subject that I think I've talked about on Offended before. It's just like, this is why people don't take these powerful movements seriously anymore, because you have people abusing it for their own personal gain, and it's just, that's not okay if that is the case,
right?
But
and that makes it really, really difficult. And like, I don't know if you saw, but Jesus, why am I blanking on his partner's name? Desmond Xavier. His wife was like, dude, I've been there for everything. And she was like going off like with receipts and like all of this was like, this just didn't happen the way that she's saying it did. And I don't think she was disrespectful about it. Like she was just very much like,
this didn't happen.
Seen this. Like, but
but the other thing
that they vacated the titles. Vacated the titles.
Vacate another world title for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, then on to the last thing of Ring of Honor. Wait, were we missing a match?
I mean, there's a few matches we didn't talk about. Swerve and Zayn was great. Lethal and Moriarty was really fantastic.
That's what it was. Yeah.
That was really great. And then Lethal with his turn at the end, and then which led directly into the main event, which was Gresham and Bandito. I think that covers pretty much everything. Oh, and then the women's title match that they had with Mercedes and Willow. I'll tell you one thing, Willow might be the best babyface in the business. Like pure babyface, Willow might be the best one.
Yeah, no, she's good, man.
How could you ever root against her, man? I don't know how anybody could. But Mercedes is what she's been. Like we've talked about on our show. Like, but it was a fine match. It was fine.
It was nothing spectacular by any means. But I mean, Willow's moonsault though, holy shit! My butthole puckered up on that one. I was like, oh my god! Like I thought she broke Mercedes' arm on that. The way she came down.
Yep.
But Samoa Joe then coming out.
Yeah.
What was great is earlier in the night, Sanjay Dutt, who was a producer agent for WWE, I mean, obviously wrestled for Impact forever. He was with Ring of Honor at one point too, with like Danielson and all them too, wasn't he? He came running out. Stout was like, "Who is that?" And I'm like, "That's Sanjay Dutt. This guy was a phenomenal wrestler, and he's never wrestled in WWE." I'm like, I would be great if he came back tonight since it's Ring of Honor. Sure as shit. He looks like he's coming out of retirement. And it makes me wonder how many fucking other wrestlers that were producers or agents or coaches even in WWE maybe still wanted to wrestle.
Yeah.
So you look like Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, like they were coaches in NXT and now they're back wrestling again. It's like, I don't get it.
Well, Scotty Too Hottie is another one. He's been showing up at GCW and also showed up to control his narrative. So good for him. It's really it's really interesting though. Yeah, I just saw a report that Curtis Axel, Joe Hennig is gonna get an opportunity to be a producer as well. And I think there are a ton of that. They were grooming Samoa Joe to be in that role, right? But even if we go back to the 90s, I mean, we're talking about when they started doing that with Savage in 94, when they were just like, sit on the commentary table, like we don't want you to wrestle anymore. And he wrestled for another 10 years almost.
Yeah,
like
Mr. Perfect even after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get that thought process. If they want to keep wrestling, why not use them? I don't get it. But so you got Joe, that happens. That sets up everything for Wednesday night. Joe's back and Rampage. Then we switch over to Rampage to see the main event of another person that AEW has built into a fucking star in Powerhouse Hobbs.
Oh yeah.
He, I think, was more over. I kind of think he was more over than Keith Lee was in that match.
I think he is too. I really do.
And they made him look strong by they kind of flipped the narrative on this, where Powerhouse Hobbs kind of is the one that gets fucked over in the match, and loses the lead. I thought they did a phenomenal job of keeping him looking strong.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think Powerhouse Hobbs, I kind of want him to get away from Team Taz, and I want to see him just go and go and go. Yeah. Maybe a feud with Wardlow down the line. Oh, pair Hobbs with MJF or something.
Oh yeah,
that would be
a great idea.
Fucking sweet. Oh, I remembered what we missed from Ring of Honor. Tully Blanchard's new client.
Oh yeah,
the Machine, Brian Cage. I actually did not see that coming.
I didn't either. It was interesting because I know nothing of Ninja Mac. I'll just throw that right out there. But I did watch the highlights of his Bloodsport match the night before and was like, who the hell is this guy? So I was interested in like what was going to happen. And then Cage came out and I was like, oh, what's going to happen is he's going to get destroyed. That's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I don't know if he had like any backstage issues with some of the AEW wrestlers, and that's why they're moving him to the Ring of Honor side of things. I don't know. There was some weird shit going on. There's so much. This is what I love about AEW, but also hate about AEW, is that they're so good at keeping shit private, and it should be private. Yeah. But for us, it's like, I want to know, God damn it. Like, what the fuck? Like, why do Cody and the Bucks hate each other? Why did, like, I know he says they got nothing but respect, but there's some weird shit going on.
I mean, if you saw their bio this week, that was pretty apparent, right? That their story is not romantic enough for him, and which is probably true.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the being the elite jokes that they've been pulling off these last 2 weeks have been the best. What Kenny Omega pulling out the phone, he's like, "Let me call Cody up." It's weird. Phone's been disconnected. Well, that's weird. The Young Bucks, they're at where were they at? South Carolina not this past Dynamite, the Dynamite before.
Yes,
because their catchphrase is all in, but it looks identical to the exact logo that they had for their all in show. And I was fucking dying. Cutler's like, huh, that sign looks awfully familiar. And the Bucks turn around, they're like, what? And they look over and they see a bunch of hands up in the air, like right next to the all in sign. It's like, oh yeah, that looks like our thing we used to do. That looks like that. He's like, no, I was talking about that. Where it says all in, it looks like our show. Matt Jackson just goes, what? Show's called All Out, you idiot.
Fantastic.
So good.
Yeah.
Now into staying. Friday was so fucking packed. The Undertaker retirement speech. I mean, we don't have to hit on that too long, but I mean, for 6 straight minutes, the dude couldn't get a word out and was fighting back emotions and everything. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. I mean, that was one of the coolest, I think. That was just one of the coolest wrestling moments I think I've ever seen. It was just him just getting his respect. I mean, still wish we would have gotten a fucking Sting match, but what a career.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He outside of looking like a televangelist, which I actually liked and thought fit well, like just him walking around the ring with the thing in. I was like, and then like the hair, like all of it was perfect. I was like, man, this man's evangelizing to us. But it was a beautiful moment for him. And I actually liked the end. Like I don't necessarily need to see like a full on like in-ring Undertaker match again. But I liked the tease of, if something were to come together. And the one thing that I could think of was, man, if they could somehow do a cinematic with him and Sting, like, I don't know how you do it, because there's no way Sting ever goes back. Like, I just don't ever see that happening. But I was like, that to me is the one thing that we never got, that we could get, and if they do it cinematic style, you get a lot of we saw it with them. Not to say that Sting can't go and that Taker couldn't go either, because they both could, but there's no way Vince is gonna let him. But yeah, other than that, it was great. I do owe an apology because I had heard so many times that Sid was going in and Sid did not go in. So this is our campaign, Sid 2023, get his ass in the Hall of Fame. But I thought everyone was good this year. I thought it was a really stacked class.
It was a stacked class, and I would imagine Triple H is going to head the class next year. But wasn't Batista supposed to be inducted last year?
Yes, and I saw something that said for one reason or another, he would probably not be available for Dallas, but because next year's in LA, that he might be going in.
Oh, he's filming Guardians right now. That's why.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's totally why.
So we'll see.
So you said you want Sid in the Hall of Fame. Is that your number one guy that you want in the WWE Hall of Fame?
Definitely like number one guy that like hasn't been active in the last 20 years, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's my guy. Yeah.
For me, it's gonna sound controversial. I'm not even gonna say it. Chris Benoit. No, but the guy I think that should be in the Hall of Fame, which will never happen because, and for understandable circumstances, is Owen Hart. I mean,
yeah. Oh well, for me, for sure, me too.
Yeah.
That one, like, if the minute she releases it, they will do it. But
yeah,
there's no way she's ever gonna do it. And
no,
that's
she's gonna sell the rights to AEW probably.
Yep.
So it will probably never happen. And I doubt the kids will ever allow it to. So.
Yep.
But now going into Saturday, finally, Friday was just jam packed. Saturday, starting off with NXT Stand Deliver. The show is okay. It's wasn't spectacular. It wasn't like a takeover by any means. The ladder match I thought was great. I thought that was a great match. Except for I cannot fucking stand Grayson Waller. I cannot stand that guy.
That's fair.
You could just tell the dude is not a. I think you look at him and it's like, this is a guy that WWE clearly took. He was a college athlete that they took, never watched wrestling because his movements are very weird. And he's going to fucking hurt somebody one of these times. Like, or himself when he jumped off the ladder.
I thought he broke his arm.
Same. The way he went into that ladder, he did not like tuck how you're supposed to tuck or keep your head tucked. He went in just like, it looked like a jackass stunt. It literally looked like a Bill's Mafia video of somebody just jumping off a car through a table. Like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you're asking to get hurt. I don't know. I can't stand him. I can't stand him or the guy that Ciampa wrestled, because Ciampa was clearly coaching him throughout the entire match on what to do. You could hear him say, all right, let's go. Like, let's do this.
I do think Tony is like a little more like naturally skilled than Grayson, but it's like, but he shouldn't be in that position right now.
Right. Yeah. It should. Yeah, exactly. It should not have been him to push to give Ciampa his last match in NXT. Honestly, it probably should have been. I want to call him Pablo Escobar. Fucking
Santos.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. That would have been great.
Like, he's good. Yeah. Grimes is great. Finally, that Grimes gets his moment in NXT. It's long overdue. But the main event, Braun Breaker's a dork. He's a total dork, but he's a total Steiner. So it's kind of cool at the same time.
Yeah.
But my gripe with NXT, and this is what I worry about for WWE, and it's kind of it's totally moving into the main roster too. Like what we talked about earlier, WWE is totally going backwards, and it's not that like they're going backwards into the 80s. They're going backwards into the worst era ever in WWE. They're going back into that early 90s era where everything was everything was so cartoonish. Every person had a weird gimmick. Like, fucking Pete Dunne is basically, I cannot picture the movie of the little kid who like is scrappy as shit. He's Scrappy Doo. Yeah. That's what he is.
He is Scrappy Doo.
It's so stupid. They make him look like a child.
Let me at him. And yeah.
Fuck, that's it. That's totally what I was looking for like the last 3 weeks now of watching.
He's Scrappy
Budge 2.0. Like every gimmick in NXT right now is just, it's like, just let them be them. We're past that. We're past the cartoonish gimmicks. Like, unless like you're the Undertaker and can pull off something that's just once in a lifetime.
And I think that's the thing is like, Luchasaurus is that way, and he is one of like 3 on that show.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's not a whole show built around it. It's not a whole company built around it.
Like House of Black has their gimmick, but it's like, but at the same time, they're still kind of being them in some way, shape, or form.
Totally.
The one thing that's my buddy David brought up to me this past week when we were watching NXT, and I was like, holy shit, I never even thought about this. Rocky Maivia would be perfect for NXT right now. Like original Rocky Maivia. The guy we all couldn't stand. That would be The Rock now. Like if you take these wrestlers, we had a full-blown conversation about this where it's like if you take these wrestlers like Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, even Michaels, I don't think they get over in today's WWE because they would be stuck in Ringmaster. They'd be stuck as Rocky Maivia. They'd be stuck as a rocker. They'd be stuck as Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Like they would never evolve into what they became. Like, and now you have WWE pumping in the fake crowd noise during the live shows. They're going to manipulate every show from here on out. Daniel Bryan, wrestlers like Bryan and Punk will never happen ever again for WWE.
No.
They will get whatever they want now. And that's the scary thing. I don't know. If I was a wrestler, I would not want to go to WWE right now. Like, sure, they're going to pay you a lot of money, but at the end of the day, you're going to be happy. And I hope it works out for Mr. Cody Rhodes, but I don't know. Dolph retaining the NXT title, though, at Stand Deliver shocked the hell out of me.
Me too. There's no way I thought that was happening.
No, not at all. I was happy for him. Dude, finally.
When he hit the kick, I was like, oh, he's just going to grab the rope because of where they were.
Right.
And then that didn't happen. And I was like, wait a minute. And really, they just did it so I guess he could win it Monday, which made no sense. But
yeah. So is he called up or what? Like, that didn't make any sense.
Yeah. So, and then Tuesday, Breaker beats Gunther clean.
His name is Walter.
And then just sends him to SmackDown, apparently.
Oh, sends him to SmackDown as wearing a German flag because we didn't know he was German. He's not German.
No, he's Austrian.
Yeah.
He's Austrian. Yeah.
His new music sucks too, on top of it.
Yep.
Dude, get Walter.
So now we have Gunther and Ludwig. And we don't have Fabian Eichner, our Italian stallion. They just left him down in NXT. So
this is literally hurting my brain.
He's going to be the bodyguard for Tony D'Angelo soon. I mean, I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but I feel like they're like, you're Italian. Why don't you go hang out with him?
God.
Mafioso style.
One thing I will say, though, that I popped my ass off for, that was AJ Galante being the manager at NXT. If you don't know who he is, this kid is awesome. I mean, how is there not a movie about him yet? I have no idea. Dude just grew up rich with his, I don't know if you saw the Netflix documentary, I think it's called Untold. I think that's what it was called.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just a mobster, real life mobster, who gave his son, AJ Galante, the keys to the kingdom to a minor league hockey team. And he turned it into like a WWE thing. They became the most over thing in the world or in that league. Yeah. And it's just so cool, like the twists and turns throughout that whole thing. And it's like, you hate him at first. And then as it progresses, it's like, this kid's fucking actually cool as shit. Like he just wants to be loved and he just wants to respect everything, but he knows how to market stuff. Like, kid is honestly a genius for how young he was. But seeing him get to go out in the ring, just living in the moment, that was like his inner child was just, I mean, I would be marking out. Tommaso Ciampa totally got a cool ass send off doing the Triple H and the Shawn Michaels, and then Hunter coming out and giving him a hug, man. Like that shows you the respect that Tommaso got.
Absolutely.
Do you think him and Gargano are AEW bound to be? Do you think that's what Gargano was waiting on to kind of reunite with him, DIY Young Bucks maybe?
I think it's probably like an 80% possibility at this point. Yeah, especially because Ciampa didn't show up this week, which makes me think that they know he's out the door, and that's where we're going.
So I think his contract expired this past week, if I'm not mistaken.
The only other option I could see for Ciampa that would mean something right now that I think they would potentially do is put him with Edge and Priest.
Ooh.
That's the only other thing I can see that he could stay or maybe would stay for, unless they were like, hey, we're going to give you the moon and the stars, kid. But I don't think that's happening.
Right.
So if that's not happening, then I think DIY is AEW bound.
I hope so. I love him. I'm a huge Gargano guy, and I want to see Gargano just go. I want to see Gargano against Danielson more than anything. Yeah, Ciampa totally got that send off. That was fucking cool as shit. Well deserved for him. Now go into WrestleMania, night one, spectacular. Spectacular. I mean, we were talking about how much WrestleMania was probably going to suck. Man, were we wrong?
Yep.
Show was phenomenal. Both nights.
And you and I were texting about this, but it's like, it shows they have the capability. They just have no continuity, no consistency, but they have the capability to put on the big spectacle. And they made it work. Both days. I mean, there wasn't anything that was like truly awful. There were things that weren't as good, but there wasn't anything that was just like, get this off my screen necessarily. I mean, some people felt that way about Ronda, which is fine. But I think in general, like, man, they knocked it out of the park. It's one of the best WrestleManias they've had since probably 31.
It's a top 5 for me, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big Jackass guy. I mean, Jackass, hockey, and wrestling are like my 3 favorite things. And to see the perfect mixture of a crossover with that Knoxville match. We're just going to talk about both WrestleManias as one whole thing.
Perfect. Yep.
This is Knoxville. Sami Zayn was one of my favorite matches of the weekend. I just fell in love with that match. They did it perfectly. Might be the greatest comedy match I think I've ever seen. That Wee Man, but with the body slam stealing the show. Party Boy actually doing the Party Boy thing. I was like, oh, they toned him down. So stupid. Then he started doing it. I was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
I was listening to Sarath, also known as Makazi, who's Sasha Banks' husband, and he was talking about he was the one who designed the thong for Pontius. And I was like, good for you, man. That's awesome. Good. That's awesome.
The hand popped me, the giant hand, but
it was so good.
The finish may have been botched with the mousetrap.
Yeah.
But I thought it was absolutely perfect because it just reminds me of a Jackass skit when they're always like, what happened? Where's the thing at? And then it happens. Like,
exactly.
I was like, that's perfect. That was absolutely perfect.
And I thought, someone said, this clearly shows like Johnny Knoxville's like understanding of a mousetrap, that he immediately knew what was wrong.
Yes, he knew like, exactly what was wrong. It
was like, yeah, this guy gets it.
One of the funniest parts is when Sammy couldn't get the table out from under the ring and the legs go under the bat, and you could see him just go. They cut away really quickly. He just goes, motherfucker, and like throws it back under.
I thought that was gonna be Wee Man. Like I thought like Wee Man would have been under there doing that, and then when he didn't come out, I was like, oh, okay, that's weird. But
right. Well, I thought the apron was gonna just take down the entire mousetrap. So I'm like, this is not gonna work. They're all gonna fall off.
Yeah.
But no, that match, that's in my top 5 for my favorite matches of the weekend. Like,
dude, it was so good. I wrote this down because I was just thinking it while I was watching it. I said, I love good pro wrestling and I love good sports entertainment. I said I was sports entertained to the highest level in that match. And you know, we've been hearing that Daniel Bryan, and it's true, is the perfect professional wrestler. Sami Zayn might be the perfect sports entertainer.
Yeah.
That guy is so good. They give him the weirdest, most ridiculous stuff. But 2 WrestleManias in a row with celebrity presence, like they clearly value him and loved and him. Like he said that it was one of the greatest moments of his life, like, and one of the greatest matches he's ever had.
I mean, listen to that crowd during it. I mean, that crowd was all over it. And Sami Zayn, like what you said, he just knocks everything out of the park. He's given such a shit fucking angle, and that's no disrespect to Johnny Knoxville. That's just the way WWE presented everything.
Yeah.
And he just knocks it out of the park. Who did he wrestle last year at WrestleMania?
I think he wrestled Owens, but Logan Paul was there.
That's
that right?
Yep. That's right. Yeah, I mean, Knoxville hitting that tornado DDT, I was like, suck it, Fuego. That was awesome.
That was amazing.
Then let's see. WrestleMania. The only match I will say that I was like, okay, this can stop was the Bobby Lashley almost
it went on
match.
Too long.
Yeah, almost just yikes. Just a big dude. That's all it is.
Yeah. I think it's obviously like super hard to just be that now, especially like with the presentation they do. And frankly, they killed his mystique because he lost. So okay, well, now he has MVP. Maybe that's something. It's definitely at least a mouthpiece. But in terms of like, he's never going to be Kane. He's never going to be the Undertaker in the ring. He's the Great Khali in the ring.
Yep. He's going to be the Great Khali. Sooner or later, he's going to walk out with some weird basket. It's going to be covered for months, like Rowan. Not going to know what's in it. Then it's just a big, dumb, the worst looking thing, worst animatronic spider you've ever seen.
The worst.
I was like, I can't believe that's what it was. Like, that's it.
Man, they could have done something awesome, but they wouldn't, because they don't think about it beforehand. They never think about it beforehand. They just say, this is what we're doing tonight. The end.
Right.
Yeah, that match was definitely the worst of the weekend.
Oh yeah. And my major gripe with the WrestleManias in both nights was the video packages, like the hyping up the next night and then showing what happened the night before. And they showed like so much of it.
Yep.
It's like, if you add all that time up, you're telling me you couldn't give a match to Finn Balor or Ricochet on either night.
Right.
Like, come on. It's just,
yeah.
That's my only thing. I am
glad that they were able to give the New Day their match. It was a very short match. I'm glad they at least got to go out there. They got to look like Big E. And I'll tell you what, Xavier needs to change his attire to that attire. That dude looked so jacked in the singlet.
Yeah, he did.
I was like, holy shit, this guy needs to rock the singlet from now on.
Yep.
Like, no more pants. This is what this guy needs to look
like. Dude, he looked jacked in it, and then he had Kofi.
And then there's Kofi. And then there's Maud. Yeah.
But
I love Kofi. But it definitely was not the same fit on him.
No, not at all. Not at all. My second favorite match of the week happened on night one, though. Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair.
Amazing match.
That match was incredible. That I think was both of their best matches they've ever done.
100%.
Actually, now that I think about it, I forgot how good the Charlotte Becky match at Evolution was. That match. That was
a great. That really was a great match. Yeah.
But I mean, these two stole the show. I think these two. You take away Austin, you take away the celebrity matches and stuff. I think this match genuinely steals the show for both nights.
100%.
That crowd ate up everything. The crowd was split 50-50. And then I call it the Adam Cole Gargano turn, where if you're good at what you do, the heel can make you cheer for the babyface no matter what, no matter how much you like them. And Adam Cole and Gargano always perfected that in their matches. And Becky and Bianca, I think, perfected that in this match. And
absolutely,
it was incredible from start to finish. They had that weird little botch where they went for the roll up, but somehow made that work. And it was just good. It was just fantastic. And at first, not gonna lie, when Becky hit the rock bottom again at the beginning, I was like, are they gonna do this again? Like,
I thought it would flashbacks to Sheamus and Bryan. And I was like, holy shit. That was my like, no way, they're not doing that again.
But man, I mean, it paid off for once. The storytelling in that feud made sense, and it all paid off. I remember how mad I was at SummerSlam watching that. It's like, that's how they did it. If that was actually their plan, this is why I'm.
But that's the thing.
Why I'm not giving all the credit.
Yep.
Because I don't think this was their plan from the beginning.
It's the same thing as, again, to go back to Daniel Bryan, like it was not their plan, and they adjusted because they had to. And because Bianca's a star, and they were able to make that work, and they were able to make that very clear over the last couple of months. But it was not the plan. You cannot convince me, because I know what WWE does. They don't think long term.
No, they don't. No, they do not.
So, but it worked. Now it looks great.
Yep. It looked like it was all part of the plan, even though it wasn't. But fantastic.
I gotta tell you though, the first holy shit moment of the night was when Bianca got kicked in the face. And I sat there and I was like, holy shit. I was like, she broke her orbital bone. Like, that was my first reaction. I was like telling my wife, I was like, I don't know what just happened, but it is clear she was not to take it all on the face, because when they showed that replay, you saw the like full face like move. Like, I was like, oh my God. And it didn't bruise or black during the match, which I thought was like really insane.
Right.
Because then if you saw her the next day at Raw,
it was like just
you got kicked right in the eye.
Yeah.
But holy shit. And to just like go out there and just shrug it off. And then that KOD at the end was the best one she's ever done.
Yes, it was.
I mean, what a perfect time for it. That's amazing.
And that the crowd, give credit to that Dallas crowd too. I mean, they were hot both nights for the entire show, both shows. I mean, they did. I mean, I have to give them a lot of credit. They were dead for NXT, but I think anybody would be dead for that right now. I mean, NXT is just, they're struggling. But another match I was I liked, but I thought like that was it, was the Edge AJ Styles match.
Yeah.
That was kind of slow. And I don't know if maybe that was the plan, but Edge's entrance on the other hand was fucking sweet. Like, he's like just morphing all of his old gimmicks into this like final boss, basically Edge. And
exactly. Yeah.
And it's cool as shit, even though it's very reminiscent of House of Black now.
I loved what Brody said.
I loved it too. It's hilarious. So many people get so butthurt over the little. You could clearly tell he was joking, and it's just like, Jesus Christ. Bots, fucking bots.
I liked the end with Priest coming out, and it wasn't much, but like I liked the little hesitation, which is all you need in a match like that. But yeah, it was it was a little slow, and Edge in general is kind of a he's obviously not the flashiest guy, but he has a lot of stuff, and we've seen the things he can do, like what he did with Rollins and things like that. But it's it was pretty par for the course for me what I thought Edge was going to give us, and I figured that Edge and AJ would probably have the longest matches on WrestleMania because both of them typically do without each other. So but yeah, it was fine. It was fine.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I don't know. I think just Styles is just getting older and he can't do all the shit he used to do. I think that's just settling in for me, unfortunately. And that's what I'm like, damn it. Rick Boogs, that was tough to watch. You could totally tell that was called short, unfortunately. Hopefully he gets better, but I mean, maybe a blessing in disguise for Shinsuke a little bit. I hate saying that, but
and maybe a blessing for Boogs too, because I think I think he can come back and be like a pretty strong mid-carder with his gimmick. I think if they tweak him, like, that dude's really talented and he looks great. Make him Rick Rude, man.
No shit. You know who's a fucking star for WWE and he's
Logan
showing it?
Paul.
He looked good. I hate saying it. He looked good.
Good, man.
His chest after the match, though, you could tell they were not taking it easy on him. Like, oh, you think you can do this? And after the show, he was like, that shit's not fake.
Not easy.
Like, I'm hurting. Like, like, good for you, man. That made me respect you a little more. Just a little bit.
Of celebrities, like, he is definitely like the most pro wrestling celebrity in general already, right? Just because of his persona. But like, that dude looked the part. Like, you would not, like, if you were just a casual guy who didn't know anything about him, you would just think he was a normal wrestler. Like,
he looked the part, hit the Three Amigos in a frog splash perfectly.
That crowd was so pissed.
Oh yeah, he was. But then when he hit the frog splash, you're like, okay, good job.
You got it. You did it.
It's like, maybe you are a fan. Yeah.
No, sorry. Who were you going to say is a star for them?
Oh yeah, I forgot already. Chad Gable is the fucking star, dude. Man.
The man.
Finally letting him be him. Not only that, but be like fucking Kurt Angle.
What you and I have been preaching.
Yeah. His shush. I mean, he is pure gold on the mic right now. He can wrestle. His moonsault is spot on the Kurt Angles. That match was a fun fucking match. That triple threat match.
Good opener.
It was so good. With Riddle hitting that RK Bro off the top rope and then Orton coming in hitting his own, the crowd just double popping at the same time. I mean, yeah, that was a phenomenal start. And that WrestleMania, we were supposed to get Riddle against Orton. And apparently Randy Orton went to Vince, was like, I am not breaking up with this dude. Like, I want to be his tag team partner for a long time.
When he said what he said on Raw, a week or two back, where he was like, "This is literally the most fun I'm having." It's also what he's said in interviews recently. Like, he's just like, "This is fun for me, and I like this."
Well, and Riddle was supposed to win the Royal Rumble, and Orton pushed for him.
He also said that Riddle grows his favorite strain, and that's helpful.
Oh, it's so fucking.
But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Riddle win this year. The Royal Rumble.
I think he's either going to win the Rumble or I think he's going to win Money in the Bank. I think, for sure. Riddle's a made star, and they struck gold with him. They really did. Let's see what else. Let's go to Brock Roman because we're saving the thing for last for WrestleMania. But
for sure,
Brock Roman, that was the best match that those two have ever had. After 7 years, they finally got one match that the crowd actually gave a shit about.
Yeah.
And it was just good. It wasn't overdone. Yep. The spots were good. Roman, from what I've heard, actually did get hurt in the match, but it wasn't on the Kimura. It was on something like super simple, like right before that. And I don't think it's a super bad injury, but I think his arm was either out of place, but you could tell there was bruising already happening. Like
you could see him literally put it back in place when he grabbed the rope.
He pulled the rope. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah. God damn, fuck that.
Like I can, and then to go out and have to put the title up, twice.
You could tell he was hurting too.
Like, yeah.
It wasn't. It's like when Finn Balor dislocated his shoulder. When you see Balor. I mean, like he's like giving it everything he has. It's like, dude, just switch your arm. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
But I mean, that match, that was good. It was a good match. Yeah. And kudos to Brock at the end for squeezing his neck, saying thank you. It's like, these two love each other. Like,
yeah, man,
these two are pretty fucking close. They have to be.
Brock Lesnar's real life face turn is the most interesting thing in the world to me.
I love it.
It's awesome, man. I love Cowboy Brock. I love. I always call him Goro, as you know. I love Goro Brock. Like, that's my dude. So yeah. But he's I love the little squeeze at the end of just like, thanks, we did it.
Yeah. It just seems like Brock's just loving life right now. It's just cool to see because you heard all these other things about how big of an asshole he is behind the scenes. It doesn't seem like that anymore.
No. And I wish and some of it is like, we know that he's a natural talent at everything he does. I know that, but like he could really teach people how to get more with less. He's probably the best person that's ever done that. Yeah.
Apparently he's
I heard that he was watching like the women's matches and things like that. It was like, that was cool.
He's apparently been working with Theory a lot. Like showing,
really?
Like sitting down and like with Theory and being like, you could work like you could do this. It's like that's just cool. Speaking of Theory, forgot about this match. Pat McAfee is fucking awesome. And him coming out the Seventh Nation Army, dude, that was cool as shit. I love he just wrestled in exactly what he was wearing when he was commentating.
Yep.
Pat McAfee's tied with Excalibur for me for my favorite announcers. They're just.
I wrote down that if I could get those two on every show, I'd probably watch every show.
Oh yeah, yeah, I would,
because I'll tell you, Michael Cole and Pat McAfee together like are really good, and they're so much better than the 3-man booth on Raw. Like Graves is good. I don't want to take anything away from Graves because he's good, but he's really saddled with two people who I don't think are very good. Like Jimmy's fine, but he's not.
He's okay.
He's nothing like outstanding. Like just. There's not a lot of personality to him, and then Byron is all personality and no substance. So
I do like when Byron and Graves give each other shit because you can tell they're trying to make each other laugh at some point. You can always tell when they do because you hear a little giggle every now and then. The mic goes silent like really quickly. I think I get a kick out of that, but other than that, I 100% agree with you. I wish Nigel would come back over and be an announcer on Raw or something. But Pat McAfee, man. Dude's just good. He's just
good.
A decent wrestler. I remember I'm a big Barstool guy, so I remember when that show they showed a little bit of it during like the video package of him with Buck Rogers, and I remember watching that. It's like 4 or 5 episodes long. It's like an hour long of him training, and he's like, "This sucks. This hurts." And it's like I remember that. Like this dude was just wants to be a wrestler. I love it.
Yep.
That was cool. The stunner to Vince. Then the stunner to Theory. Theory just launches in the air.
Good for you, Theory, man. Theory and Saxton, where you just know they were like, I get to do this and I'm going to make the most of it.
And then McAfee just doing the slow fall back with the spitting the beer out as he's falling backwards was hilarious. Then you got the Vince. Holy shit, Vince. Just stop getting in the ring.
Vince has never taken a stunner well. This was the worst one.
Yes.
But
Austin cracking up.
Can we give so much credit to the WWE production team because they made that look amazing in the follow-ups, in the recaps.
Yeah, they totally did. Dude, they did that quick cut and the beer spitting out. But Austin cracking up was great. My favorite part about that whole thing, though, was the camera cut to McAfee chugging the beer on the outside. Just yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Now, the overall thing. Yeah, The Undertaker's retirement speech. Triple H to kick off night 2, putting his boots in the ring, officially retiring. Then, what I think should have closed the second night, I still stand by this, because when night 1 ended, it felt like a culmination of 30 plus years of this man's career. And it was one of the most perfect endings to a career I think I've ever seen. We've all wanted one more match. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know when the match started, I was like, uh-oh, he's looking old. He's looking slow. And then the more beer he was drinking, the faster and better he got. It's just
Popeye with spinach, man. Give the man his beer.
I don't know if they planned it like that, but I mean, knowing Stone Cold, he probably did plan it like that, because that's just Stone Cold. But Owens coming out, calling out Austin, doing the KO show. I was like, where is this going to go? How is this going to end? Yeah. And when he's like, I tricked you and pulled you out for a match, I was actually at Stadium. I was at a roller rink at the time when this was going on. And my phone was blowing up. You're like, are you watching this? I'm like, no. What did Austin do? Just give him a stone? He's like, no, the bell fucking rang. And I'm like, what? I took the cake up. I'm like, you made me miss this. Rushed home to watch it. Like, holy shit. I
didn't until the bell rang. Even I was like, they're not doing a match.
Yeah.
Because even when Owens was like, I'm challenging you to a fight, I was like, okay. And then the ref came out and I was like, wait a minute.
Give me a goddamn referee.
And I was like, holy shit. The only gripe I have with the match is I wish Austin would have taken the shirt off. That's all. That's it. And I get why. I do. Right. I mean, the man's 57 years old. I get it. But he was clearly in great shape. I mean, his arms are bigger than they've ever been.
He looks good, man.
Jacked, man.
Yeah. Taking a fucking concrete bump.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And I'll tell you, we've known this for a long time, just in general, like his just psychology, obviously, and just his knowledge. He is probably the smartest. Him and Goldberg are the two smartest people in the world, because they just rocked the bald head and the goatee or the beard, because guess what? You're going to look like that forever. You don't have to come out looking like a tattered up version of yourself, because guess what? You just look the same.
Yep.
You just look like you added some gray. That's it. Smartest entertainers ever.
So true, though. It's so true. Fucking, oh my God, dude. I literally had a tear in my eye watching it, though. It's just like, and then when Triple H, the next night, when Triple H put his boots in the ring, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This is like the final chapter of my childhood. The book just
Taker,
closed
Austin,
tonight.
Triple H. That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. Boom.
So all that happened, and I'm like, is this show going to end with The Rock coming out and challenging Roman to next year's Mania? Yeah. And because I still think that's the plan, is Roman Rock next year. But I was like, I kind of hope it doesn't happen, because I just don't want to be. It's not like I'm going to watch the shows anyways, because I mean, Monday night just solidified that for me. But
oh my God, yes,
I was like, I really hope it's not another year-long build, like, because it's just like it just ruins it ruins every story moving forward for the rest of that year.
It does.
And that was the biggest gripe about Cena Rock.
Yep.
But to their credit, they did put the title on Punk then. To where you didn't have to worry. Then it was like, okay, now we're freed up again. But it's going to be for the title, because for whatever reason, WWE thinks a Roman Rock match needs to have the title, when it doesn't. It doesn't need to have it.
Not at all. You can just lean into the family stuff. That's it.
Yeah.
Or you can lean into the greatest WWE entertainer of all time. Like, there's a lot of different ways you can go without the title.
Yeah. Use the title to help, I don't know, elevate somebody else. Who would have thought?
I mean, they didn't need Austin to have the title, Austin and Owens, right?
Yeah.
You don't need your main event to have a title.
Nope.
So,
yeah. But Austin, man, that was just beautiful. That was just a beautiful, beautiful send-off. And finally got the match everybody's been asking for. Finally got his official last match. And man, I swear to God, if Saudi Arabia somehow convinces Stone Cold to have a match over there, I'm going to be so pissed.
Me too.
Because this is the perfect ending.
Absolutely. And I think not just the match that night, but him getting to come out the next night with Vince was like okay, this really feels like the cap. Like this is cherry on top, as we always talk about, but it really was like that's it, the end. We've seen our last stunner on McMahon. We've seen our last beer bath, and it feels good, and we can be happy with where that ended.
Yep, definitely. You said you wanted to bring up something about Monday night.
Okay.
About Raw.
So there's the old saying that the greatest trick the devil ever pulled is convincing people that he didn't exist, right? The greatest trick WWE ever pulled was getting me to watch Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania.
Yep.
I was invested because
we totally forgot a match.
We did forget one of the biggest matches. So we'll jump back into that. But holy cow, what a disappointing show. I'll tell you, like, SmackDown felt a little more like the Raw after Manias of years past, just like with what they were doing. And even how it ended, but just some very odd things happening on Raw, and did not feel like a big deal. And the crowd was which we know the crowd is tired. They've been there all week. But the crowd was not great, and they were just kind of going to business for themselves, of course. And but guess when the crowd doesn't do that? When you give them a reason not to, and they didn't give them a reason not to on Monday. And that's a real shame. But yes, let's jump back before we talk about the opening of Raw, because that doesn't happen if Saturday doesn't happen.
Yep. And it was cool as shit. I have to say, it was cool as shit. Cody Rhodes coming out. First of all, what Rollins was wearing, I want one, and I want to wear it all the time. I loved it. Seth Rollins is
amazing, man.
He's on another level.
He is,
what man. I think is hilarious, though, the day before at the Hall of Fame ceremony, he called Dave Meltzer a moron. So Dave Meltzer did not rate the Seth Rollins Cody Rhodes match from WrestleMania, which I'm like, it's so petty. But it's so funny that these two hate each other so much for real.
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. So I just when he walked out, I said, man, I fucking love Seth Rollins. And that robe was amazing. The whole outfit was amazing. Another one where Sarath was talking about how when they were talking about it, he said they talked about it way back in January when they didn't know exactly what was going to happen. They had a thought, but they didn't know exactly what was going to happen. And he was basically like, I just want to put you in a wedding dress. That was his original thing. He wanted to put him in white lace and all the stuff. And he said, I'm thankful I didn't, because Carmelo came out rocking the white lace wedding dress. He was like, but we changed it to black lace. And he's like, I think it's one of the best things I've ever done. And I was like, it was amazing.
It really was. It was fantastic. That's one of the best attires I've ever seen in wrestling. Yeah. It's like a mix of Shawn Michaels and Sensational Sherry.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Oh. But when Kingdom hit, when the Wrestling is More Than One Royal Family hit,
oh my god,
it just that whole crowd erupted. The only pop that was bigger was Austin's.
Yep.
But holy cow, that crowd was pumped. It was weird seeing him back. It was, I loved everything about the presentation and him coming out. And it was a good match too. It was one of the best matches of WrestleMania.
Really good match. It was a total Cody Rhodes match.
Yeah.
And I wonder if he signed, when he signed the contract, when he was, because I read what the interviews that he did for Variety and stuff, and it's which, by the way, if he's doing interviews for Variety magazine and all these GQ and stuff, people want to say wrestling's not big. Wrestling is fucking massive right now. People need to stop looking at the television ratings and all that. That shit does not matter. Wrestling is on top of the fucking world right now.
It is.
But him saying that, you gotta let me be me. I wonder if it's in his contract that he gets to book some of his matches, or just gets to do the rundowns for his matches and not work a WWE style match. We will see on Monday when he wrestles The Miz,
the most WWE style man there is. Yes.
It's hey, Bryan Danielson, you're going to wrestle Kenny Omega in your first televised match on TV. Hey, Cody Rhodes, you're going to wrestle The Miz. There's a difference.
I love The Miz. I love The Miz, too. But it's different. And but again, if you're the top sports entertainment company and that's what you want to be, you put your top sports entertainer out there, I guess, against the guy 100%. That you just brought in. Even though I think your top sports entertainer is Sami Zayn, neither here nor there.
Agreed.
But Miz is the gatekeeper in that way, and that's fine. I don't want it to be a long feud. I hope it's a one and done. I don't know what you do with Cody while you're holding him off for Roman, though.
Yeah, I don't know. And it seems like, are the titles unified? Are they not unified? They're not like.
That is still unclear to me, yes.
Yeah. Because it kind of seems like Shinsuke's just going for the Universal title. It doesn't seem like it's for the WWE Championship.
Right.
It's so weird.
But that's also a problem with the naming things, because like it's very unclear if it's actually unified, or like one person called it the Unified Universal Championship, which sounds awful. One person called it the Unified World Heavyweight Championship. And I'm like, can we just settle on WWE Championship if that's what we're doing? Like,
if it's just going to be one title, can we just call it the WWE Championship? Or bring back Big Goldie, because that's the best title there is.
Yeah. Oh, I would love the Big Gold. It's the one I use the most in WWE 2K22.
Same.
Shameless plug. Love that title. But I'll tell you, I think top 3 things I genuinely popped for, probably up in that top 3 was the Stardust cartwheel and the star fade. Holy shit. I was just like, I cannot believe he did it. And I loved, this is where I was like, Graves, you need to get away from this group, because Graves talking about, because they were like, oh, what, showboating. And he's like, no, that's him shedding his skin. That's him shedding the past. And I was like, yeah, man, that's the way you do it. And I just love that he did it.
Oh, it's great. It was great. But then the match was good. Glad Cody went over. He should have.
Yeah.
You go to Monday night, though. He doesn't get that big of a pop Monday night. And it was kind of like, I was reading reports saying that the crowd was into him. There was some booing, but not a lot of booing. But it did feel like the fake fucking crowd noise was pumped in again. And it's just like, you can tell when this is. And people online are saying like, oh my God, AEW's doing it on Rampage. It's like, dipshits, they've been doing that since the first pre-taped episode. That's nothing new. AEW's been doing that on Rampage literally since the first episode. They only do it on Rampage, and they only do it when it's not live, because sometimes that crowd is so dead after a Dynamite,
because they've gone through Dynamite, which drains you.
Right. And I don't get the whole Sammy Guevara thing, like right now with the crowd, with like people on the internet saying like, oh my God, they overdid the crowd noise. Like, you can tell the crowd's not into it. Like, you can hear the boos. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, he's gonna turn heel pretty soon. AEW is not like WWE. When somebody's getting booed, unless your name is Cody and it's just gonna be completely against it, they're gonna turn them.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That just drove me crazy. But
no, I agree, and I think I thought the promo was good on Monday.
It was good,
and I thought he played the crowd really well. But it was like someone wrote, and I was like, this is exactly how I feel about this. It was like, I've never seen someone gain and lose the crowd more in one promo. Like, it was like a real boom, 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 and but he had him at the end, and I thought that was that's what you want. So yeah, it was fine. I just, like I said, I just don't know where you go from here. Especially with only having potentially one title, maybe, question mark.
Right. And also, it's like, the crowd's not going to stay behind him long. The crowd, they're eating it up right now that he's over there. The crowd's going to turn on him.
And what happens when you go to Des Moines? Like, I don't want to be that guy, but it's true. Like, our first non-WrestleMania crowd is coming up this week. Is he going to get the pop that, you expect him to? I don't think so.
I think he's going to get like a decent babyface reaction, but not like an over, oh my God, it's Cody Rhodes reaction.
Yeah.
I give it 2 months. I think the crowd starts booing him again. And then you're going to see all these hypocrites on the bots on Twitter again, flip their narrative again, be like, why did we sign him after freaking out that you got him? Like, it's just, you could just, it's the writing on the wall. You can see it 100%. And then it's like, what do you do? Are you finally going to turn him heel?
Right.
Or is he going to be a little bitch about it again and not turn heel? Just gonna be blunt about it, because I thought he was kind of stubborn with not turning heel in AEW. We could have gotten some great feuds out of that. But we'll see. Nothing else really happened. I know Rhea Ripley's rumored to join Edge and Priest, which would be cool, because I think that's just perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was basically your WWE wrap up. I mean, basically, Dynamite was stellar. We hit on Bucks and FTR. Samoa Joe doing the Bobby Shmurda dance was fucking great. Max Caster destroyed him though on the rap. Holy shit.
Yeah,
Even I just love Joe's reaction. Joe was totally like, that was good. Got me. What were the other matches on Dynamite? I feel like there were.
We had Sean and Sean. So we had Spears and Dean.
MJF's such a prick. I can't wait. Wardlow and him. I love this feud. That crowd's gonna go insane when Wardlow finally gets his hands on him. Like, gonna go insane.
Yep. We had the Julia Hart and Sheeta match. I wrote on there. Sheeta's obviously Sheeta. She's awesome. Julia's definitely improving and doing really well. But I said Julia's just something interesting. I am interested every time she's on the screen. And she's definitely been the person who's been affected the longest by what happened with House of Black. And I assume that's where we're going, but it's been a nice slow burn. They didn't just rush through it. So I really liked that.
Well, maybe Cody was affected, and that's part of his story. He went to WWE. He's like, oh shit, I'm possessed again.
Yep. Yeah. I think if you ever brought him back, it's a pretty easy one to tell.
Right.
I wrote this at the beginning because we had the Christian Adam Cole match, which was great. But I said, man, Edge and Christian got to face Adam Cole and AJ Styles this week. How cool is that?
Right.
That's just cool, man. Good for them. I like that.
That is cool. What a world. What a time for wrestling right now. The Hardys wrestling, which was a clusterfuck of a match. Such a clusterfuck.
It was.
Jeff is scaring the shit out of me with these swantons, but I'm loving every minute.
240 pounds of just dead weight falling on you.
Oh, shit. What they call it? Edge and Christian are calling it the croissant flop. And so what they should call it now, because he just comes down.
Yeah.
What was but Julia, no. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. There's so much wrestling.
And the one of the other things that popped me was Kingston throwing a full ass TV at the Jericho Appreciation Society. I really liked that.
I forgot about
some good backstage stuff this week too. So, and then of course that friggin' main event was.
Oh, it was the
Dynamite,
Adam.
Pardon the pun.
Adam Page's promo was awesome.
Oh my God, so good. It was just fuck you, I'm done with you.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna beat your ass so that you know that I'm done with you.
Yeah. And you got a live Rampage next week. Texas Death Match. You got Battle of the Belts. Every title will be on the line next week. AEW is just hitting these strides, man. They're back. They're back on top. And it's so funny. People are like, oh, they were AEW's freaking out. It's like, no, they're not. They're just doing their thing. And they're still just climbing on up. And they're still just putting on banger after banger. And but yeah, Adam, and people want to say Adam Page, oh, he's not a good baby face. He's not a star. It's like, this dude is a fucking star. And and you got Keith Lee just throwing Powerhouse Hobbs through a wall. And that was awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like, how can AEW get any better? And they keep getting better, and they keep getting better, and they keep getting better. And real quick, before we wrap things up here, who are your two picks for the Owen Hart tournament on the men's and women's side?
Before the announcement of the title match for this week, and it still may be the case, they don't have to just do it, but my pick would have been Joe. I don't know.
Joe Suzuki, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, oh my God, what a match that's going to be. I still feel like they might go that way, but I'm not sure. I like the men's side feels really. Actually, both feel really out there to me. I would love to see Jamie Hayter make it interesting towards the end. I would love to see her get to the finals. I don't know that she's going to win it, but I wouldn't mind it. But I think maybe give it to Tony. I don't know.
That's my pick. I think Tony Storm wins it.
Yeah. What do you think on the men's side?
Lost a shitload of weight, by the way.
Ton of weight. Yeah.
Almost too much.
You're gonna lose the moneymaker.
Men's, before he turned into a sports entertainer, I was thinking Daniel Garcia just because of the pure technical side of things. But now I think it might be Danielson or Yuta.
Do you think they put Gresham in it?
I could see that. I could totally see that. I could see. I mean, I think you're going to see I think you're going to see some surprises here and there.
Yeah.
And now with the announcement that AEW Dynamite is now finally going to be able to be viewed in Japan, as it's going to be on New Japan World now. Mm-hmm. It's like there's clearly a deal done with AEW and New Japan.
Yep.
Makes me wonder, are we going to get Okada at some point, or are we going to get Ibushi? And are they saving Ibushi for when Kenny comes back? And it kind of seems they keep dropping hints that Kenny's closer than like what we're being led to believe a little bit.
Right.
So
I would love to see Ibushi. I'd love to see him just, join. I'd love to see them be the Golden Lovers again.
Yeah.
But I'd also love the other thing. I was watching the lead up to O2 SummerSlam. I don't remember why. It just like popped up on something, and so I started watching it. But I was watching the Triple H and Shawn Michaels stuff when Michaels was coming back,
and thrown into the car.
I could also see them doing the like, hey, we're back together as the Golden Lovers, and immediately turning on him, like just immediately beating him down. But
that would be sweet.
Yeah. Anyway, but I think that's an excellent idea. I'd also love to see, Tanahashi maybe get a little run and maybe even be in the Owen himself. It opens up some possibilities for sure. Once they bring in Ishii to face off with Samoa Joe, and maybe you put Hobbs and Lee in there, and then you just have the most meat slapping of any meat slapping. And I might die. I might die from that. That might be the thing that puts the dagger in.
I love that we have to drop that line once randomly in the episode, and everything must go sucks. Almost forgot to do that too. But or you get fucking Tommaso and Gargano in the tournament too. I think there's going to be some surprises coming through. AEW's not done. Maybe Bray even. Bray's still out there. Like
that's true. He's been really active lately, so I know he's filming a movie, but I gotta imagine that's getting close.
It's got to be close to be wrapping. It's got to
be. And give me Miro back, man. Yeah, get him back.
He's apparently filming a fucking television show for CBS, like a sitcom.
Good job, Miro. That's awesome.
That's why he hasn't been on Dynamite. He's filming that show, and it's like, what? Lana has to be like in it or something. Like, how did he land a role on a CBS? Yeah. Instead of doing the 1, 2, 3 finish to wrap things up, top 5 matches of the weekend, or I guess the week.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go first?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. At number 5 for me, Young Bucks FTR. Number 4, Johnny Knoxville, Sami Zayn.
Yep.
Number 3, motherfucker. Number 3, it's got to be Moxley Yuta. Number 2, Becky, Bianca. Number 1, FTR, Briscoes. I mean, that's probably going to be my number 1 when we do our top 20 matches of the year.
It'd be hard to top it. I'll tell you what. I think mine are all fairly similar. So I'm trying to think if there's one that I would push in one direction or the other. I think, the only other one that I'm thinking is the Rhodes Rollins match, just because of the grandeur of it. I think it's just outside though. So I'm going to say, I think Yuta Moxley is 5 for me. I think Bucks and FTR is 4. Zayn and Knoxville is 3. I was just so highly sports entertained by that. Bianca and Becky is 2, and FTR and the Briscoes is 1. I think that's where I kind of fall out. But man, again, what a week for FTR.
I mean, yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
Holy hell.
Stars.
And what a week overall. I mean,
no doubt.
You were talking about like your childhood, kind of like the door being shut. I said to my wife, I said, if this happened during my childhood, all of this, I was like, I would be the happiest person for like 3 months. Like just being able to watch all of this wrestling and all of this good wrestling and good stories and all of this. I was like, I would be in heaven, man. I was like, this week it was awesome, and it was still like you said, like Tuesday, I was like, I just need a second, man. I need to just reset.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. And On top of those, the best moment for me of the weekend, though, my number one true moment, Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestling his last match. I mean,
absolutely.
Just it doesn't get
any better, man.
No, it doesn't.
And
it really
Kevin
doesn't.
Owens, that man is, oh man, he got everything he wanted when he re-signed.
Yep.
I'll tell you that.
That's all he wanted.
Good for him. Good for him.
That's literally all he wanted. He just wanted to wrestle Stone Cold. That was it.
Yeah. Let him wrestle in the Owen WWE. That's all I'm asking. Just let him go be in the Owen.
Yep.
But we know that's not happening.
Yeah. Can Vince, can you actually release Kevin Owens so we can get him in AEW now? Now that he got to wrestle Austin, can you give us Owens and Zayn? Like,
yeah.
Man,
what a week.
What a fucking week. All right. You can follow us at anythingbutcredible.com for all your network needs, including the What's Your Bliss podcast and the Offended podcast and all the other great podcasts that we have on there. I'm drawing a blank right now because my brain is fried from this week. Just with work
Movie merge,
and
going off topic.
Oh my God. Thank you. And Offended comes back. This will drop on Monday. Offended will be back on Friday. And we have the debut episode of STL Pot Dispatch, which will drop on 420.
All right.
I will not be the host. I will actually be kind of behind the scenes producing. I will be on the show, but producing. So I'm excited. It's like,
that's awesome, man.
I'm actually gonna try to do something serious.
I think it's awesome. I really do.
Thank you.
It's going to be a really exciting time, and I'm excited for Offended to keep growing, for the ABC pod to keep growing, and I'm excited to get some real talk about weed and cannabis and all of the kind of pieces and really the business side of things. I'm really excited to learn a lot. I think it's gonna be an awesome show.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you. I'm excited. Yeah. And on Friday's episode of Offended, we will have Billy and Dylan, the two hosts of the show, and Corey, the three hosts of the show, I should say, on Offended Friday. And we will just kind of give you a little preview of like what's to come and the future of STL Pot Dispatch. Best thing about it is that we're calling it STL Pot Dispatch because that's the Post Dispatch, and Dylan hates the Post Dispatch for whatever reason, but it's the only reason why he did it. I don't know. I don't know why he told me, but I was just like, that's weird. I don't like the media either, but they're just a newspaper. But
yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah, you can follow Offended at Offended Pod on all social media platforms. You can follow What's Your Bliss at
Your Bliss Pod on all social media platforms. And let me tell you What's Your Bliss is back, baby. We are coming back with a brand new episode this week. Not sure what day we're dropping it yet. We've been dropping on Wednesdays, but it really depends. My recording schedule is going to be a little bit different than it was when What's Your Bliss was kind of in the heyday. But we're coming back, a little bit of a new format. I'll talk about that in the first episode, but I am really excited to be bringing some bliss back to you all.
Nice. Fuck yeah. Look at us. Making our returns this week.
Look at us. The empires. That's right. Yeah. Just building that empire up.
Oh, it's so great. And we need another movie game episode.
We do. It's time.
I've been champ for too long. The belt's getting a little heavy on the shoulder.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know where it's at. But yeah, but making our returns. Love to see it. And I'm in talks with Pro Wrestling Tees right now. Might be going on there for some merch soon. So
all right,
stay tuned to that.
That's exciting.
I think that is everything. I feel like I'm missing something.
Well, let me just very, very, very quickly say this is probably better for our main feed Offended shows, but I am petrified of the Avalanche's road through the playoffs. It's literally every team that scares the shit out of me as an Avs fan. That's going to make the Western playoffs, and I don't know what I'm going to do when they lose because it's going to be a nightmare.
I think they're peaking too soon, personally.
Me too.
And
me too.
That's an episode coming up on Offended, our playoff preview. Blues, the St. Louis Blues are getting hot at the right time. I am on cloud 9 this morning because of the game I attended last night. Holy fucking shit! That was a playoff game. Blues coming back from a 3-1 deficit to tie it. Schenner's goal, beautiful goal of the year candidate, and then winning in overtime against one of the hottest teams in the NHL. Now the Blues are now 7-0-1 in their last 8 games. Mm-hmm. The Blues are 12-2-1 against the Wild in their last 15 games against them. people are sleeping on them again. And I think the Blues are slowly becoming one of the scarier teams in the NHL again. I love it. I don't think you love it.
No, but it is like I'm just getting flashbacks. That's really what it is, and I'm like, they're gonna ruin us again. As an Avs fan, seeing the Wild and the Blues in the playoffs is just like doom is coming, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't want this.
See, I think the Wild are kind of overrated. I think they're overrated.
I think they are right now for sure, but it's PTSD, man. It's like there have been so many times we've been the favorite against the Wild in the playoffs, and they're just like, just kidding. And I
Dude, that's
can't
so true.
go through it again.
Didn't they beat the Avs like I want to say it was early 2000s. They beat the Avalanche. Like the Avalanche were the number 1 seeded team, and the Wild were 8. And the Wild like shocked the world. That's like the first time that an 8 seeded team had beat a number 1 team.
Mm-hmm.
And now that happens all the time. But that was like the first time that happened. Playoffs, it's so up in the air right now. Blues catching fire. I mean, I just can't. Ville Husso's pulling a Jordan Binnington from 2019. I'm not trying to be biased. I think the Blues are legit cup contenders. I think they might be the sleeper force in the NHL right now.
And to your credit, that is something that you said was going to happen pretty early on this year. Like you said, it's following that same track, and here we are. So I think we're here. My daughter just walked in, so I don't know what she needs. Hi. There she is.
Made her debut. Cody Rhodes.
That's right.
All right.
I think now all of my kids have been on the podcast at this point. I think this is the last one.
Yep.
So, hi.
The Elite's complete.
The Elite's complete. All right, man.
For Thomas, I am Tricky. This has been the Wrestling Wrap Up. We will see you guys soon, and make sure to tune in to What's Your Bliss and Offended this week, as we are both back. Thomas, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you. Peace.